Hey guys, I'm Angelo, this is Tribes. And this is a big thank you. I recently hit 200 subscribers and in the grand scheme of things, that's not that much, but I'm really happy with it. This YouTube channel is honestly one of the few things keeping me sane in a year with basically no shows. I've been working on a lot of music and other things that I will share soon, so thank you for being on this journey with me. As is Dutch tradition, if you celebrate, you must share. And instead of buying you all a beer, I thought I'd give you a piece of the instrument that I've been building. So you can find samples of my modular ready to go for Logic and Ableton in the description down below. And let me know if it ends up on some cool music. Alright, so how does one sample a modular? To be honest, I didn't completely know either, and I made quite some mistakes along the way. But here's how I ended up doing it. Firstly, I had a few concepts in mind for this. I wanted my patches to be based around feedback. I wanted a few different layerable sounds, and for every patch I wanted different intensities. The reason for which is that I wanted to use the new MPE implementation in Ableton 11 to give expression by blending between different intensity levels. Don't worry, I'll show you how that works later in this video. I started off sampling the dark matter in a simple feedback patch. This module does not track volt per octave, so it was definitely the most work to turn into a sampler instrument. I just recorded some different pitches into Logic and worked out how to handle it later. I ran the resulting audio into Metadyne for some basic tuning, then bounced that to another track. Strip silence gives me one region per sample. Here I ran Metadyne again to divide the notes in a bit more logical way. I exported those as audio files for later use in Ableton, then hit convert to sampler instrument. In Logic Sampler, I took some time to place the various samples on the right notes. Then I did the exact same thing for a brighter patch. In Ableton Sampler, again, some elbow grease and a tuner. Now, from here on out, it got a lot easier. My other modules track volt per octave, so I can use Logic's auto sampler for that. First, I tuned ripples to self-oscillating with a MIDI region and a tuner. Then it's just a matter of opening up auto sampler and letting it do its thing. When auto sampler is done working, you can just find the instrument in sampler's presets. Then another patch with some distortion. Now let's hook up SID guts and the SE88 filter. Again, I'm making a fat and a thin sound and one in between for good measure. As it turns out, the tracking on my SID guts is awful. First, I thought it was because I was splitting the pitch information, but apparently the chip is just old. So elbow grease and a tuner it is. Again. Now, I was very pleasantly surprised by how Ableton handles these Logic samples. Because all the file names have the pitch notated in them, Ableton automatically divides them between correct keys. Just some more, you guessed it, elbow grease and tuning, and we're done. Now, how do you use it? I found that I prefer having the different sounds live in their own individual samplers. You can then use some form of MIDI control to blend between them. For instance, in Logic, here's how you set up the mod wheel for volume on two tracks where one is inverted, effectively turning it into a blend control. To build on this concept a bit further, if you have an MPE controller like the Sensor Morph or the Roly Seaboard, you can do the same thing but per note. Here in Ableton, I'm setting up the slide, which is the Y position on the morph, to control the volume of the brighter patches. What's also nice about MPE is that you can have pressure control volume. Now, I bought the morph for totally different things than playing notes, and I'm gonna make a video on that real soon, but it sure is expressive. Some other options are using different envelopes and the different layers, or using an LFO on volume. The world is, as they say, your oyster. These samples are very basic by design, but that means you can mold them to your will. I hope you found this video useful, and even more so, I hope these samples help you make some nice music. As always, let me know any comments or questions down below, and subscribe for more gear, maybe a bit of music, and probably more gear. Bye!